Hey guys, Kevin, Muddy River Tactical. Thank you for joining me. Today we have the CZ P01. A few weeks ago we did the CZ P07 and I thoroughly enjoyed that gun so much that we've shot over 1,000 rounds through it at this point. So I have very high hopes with this P01. It just feels really good. So we're going to take this thing to the range and put it through its paces and see how it performs. Alright guys, let's go over the specs on this pistol. This is a metal frame with a metal slide and has a 3.7 inch barrel, and the gun weighs in at 28 ounces. So it makes it not light but not heavy either. It gives it just enough weight for this pistol to shoot like a full-size gun. As far as size goes, the CZ P01 is very similar in size to like a Glock 19, the CZ P07 or something in that range. You know, it's a 15 round grip and then a just under 4-inch barrel, so it kind of gives you an idea of the size of pistol you're looking at. The P01 is a double single action, so I'm sure you guys are familiar with those, but the first trigger pull is long and heavier, about 12 pounds or so, because it's you're moving the trigger and the hammer together, compared to once it goes to single action, you're only releasing the hammer. So the single action trigger is way better. So follow-up shots are super great. The one thing about this trigger I will say though that I was kind of shocked on, because I'm more of a polymer frame guy, is the reset is way longer than what you're used to on a striker fired gun. So just something to keep in mind. It's super easy to overcome. This pistol you can shoot fast and very well, so it's not a deal breaker, but it's definitely going to feel different to you. It comes with two 15 round magazines, so you get plenty of capacity for a concealed carry package. The ergonomics on this gun just feel amazing in my opinion, and it makes me like it more than the Glock for sure and the P07. Ergonomics are just truly great. These grips are removable, which is also a great thing because there's hundreds and hundreds of grips options on the market for this, so you can just change them out for the texturing or style or width that feels good and right for your hand. For me personally, I think these feel very good, and I wouldn't necessarily change them. A lot of people with these guns get them because they're truly customizable, from the grips to, if you're not familiar with Cajun Gunworks does some amazing things with these triggers and these pistols. So they have a whole bunch of different trigger packages, from the concealed carry to, I don't know what all they call them, but they got a bunch of different trigger options you can put on there. They also can mill your slide for an optic, which I think would make an ideal carry option on this pistol. I'm a fan of optics anyways, but the other reason I'd be a huge fan of it on this pistol is with this low bore axis and very little real estate on that slide, manipulation and using the pistol in a malfunction or something like that is a little more difficult. The slide serrations do work, but I mean at the end of the day you got less than a half an inch right there to grab. So by having an optic on there, whether it's ideal or not, it would give you something you could rack your gun off with in an easy fashion if you ever had to in one of those bad situations. It does have a decocker on it, so a lot of people are carrying them for appendix carry and things like that. It's just a good in-between way to not have a safety on your gun, but have that longer trigger pull to where you feel safe. A lot of people also like a double single action for appendix carry, as when you're holstering, you can put your thumb on the back of that slide and reholster the pistol, which reholstering is when most accidents happen if they're going to. But with your thumb on the back of that slide, even pulling the trigger hard, your thumb's keeping it from going back. So it just makes it a safe way to reholster that way if you're one of those people that are kind of paranoid about that. It does have a front rail on it, so you can use any lights or lasers if you so chose. The slide release on this pistol is very big and works well. However, I'm left-handed and it's not ambidextrous, so it doesn't really do much for me personally. So I had to rack the gun to manipulate it, that's where I ran into a lot of issues with this, being so little real estate and kind of a little bit difficult to manipulate the pistol. So having an optic on it for me would make a huge difference. As far as reliability, this thing is spot on. I'm a huge fan of CZ's. Their headquarters is about 30 minutes from us, and they just make quality products, and this is no exception. It's been carried by different militaries across the world and police across the world. It's been through a lot of testing. It's definitely reliable. We have shot 400 or so rounds through this, so not a ton, but enough to generally find out if you're gonna have any issues. And it's had no issues at all with reman ammo or anything we've put through it. It's cycled great. This pistol shoots very well for a couple reasons. The trigger being number one, it's got a great trigger, and then once it hits single action, it's amazing. And the other thing that makes this gun shoot very well, and this is the double-edged sword to my complaints about very little real estate up here, it's because the slide is down in the frame. So the slide rails are down in the frame, which keeps the reciprocating mass down low. So your felt recoil is very minimal on this gun, really. It does have a little more recoil than the P07, however, it's super manageable. So the quick follow-up shots are definitely not a problem. It has very little muzzle flip, and then on top of that, the single action trigger at that point is just amazing. So it can shoot very fast and very reliably. So if you're carrying it, you'd have no issues with reliability for sure. Overall, this pistol has been great, and I've thoroughly enjoyed shooting it almost as much as I anticipated. The one thing I really didn't anticipate was a little more recoil felt, or the felt recoil compared to the P07. I figured with just a little bit extra weight, I felt the recoil would be a little bit better than it was, and by all means it's not bad at all, but I think the P07 for a carry gun would be a little bit better for me personally if you're into the double single action type stuff, but that's just my personal opinion. This gun works very well. You'd definitely not have any issues with it. Put an optic on it and it would really take this to the next level. So for me, I'd say this gun's probably an 8 out of 10 or so, and the only reason would be with so many options on the market nowadays, you know, it really depends on what style gun you like. In my opinion, if you wanted a double single action gun, this gun's good, but the P07's great. So if you're a CZ fan, you know, you're choosing really between this and a CZ P07 for concealed carry for, you know, this style, I would take the P07 for sure. And then the other thing is, you know, if you're talking about concealed carry wise, there's so many options on the market with striker fired guns and different things. You can get a gun that's a little bit smaller than this and shoots just as well as this and save some weight, which I'm a big fan of. I don't like having heavy guns and carrying full-size guns. Even though this isn't a full-size gun, it does have more weight than, you know, you're used to. If you're carrying a 365 or Glock 43X or something, you know, you're looking in the low 20 ounces, 21, 22 ounces compared to 28 ounces. That makes a big difference when you're carrying it all day. But overall, this gun has been great, just like we'd expect from CZ. If you're in the market for a double single action gun, and especially if you like metal frame guns, this is definitely a great option. However, for me, I'd personally choose a CZ P07 over this, but you know, that's why there's so many options on there. Not everybody likes the same thing. But overall, with this gun, you cannot go wrong for sure. So thank you guys for joining us. We truly appreciate it. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. We are always here to help. Until next time, keep practicing and always be prepared.